Right, guys. Well into December now. Well, not that far in. Just having a slug of coffee. Beautiful. In the Duralex iconic mug. Mm. Oh, yeah. Oh. Yeah, I was just considering just another thing on the car theme in Bulgaria and the Balkans. Now they don't have like the AA or the RAC. It's mostly so as you go around, as you drive around, you'll see the recovery trucks, and this is what they'll have written on them, and you can just freeze that or whatever, and that says put your pomosh road help, and if you see the truck and it's parked up, just take a picture of the door. They'll have the number on. I've got a few on the phone. So that's what you're looking for. There's another one, and they have them. They have them on border crossings and that. If you look carefully enough, if you go into another country, there'll be a load of them. You just take a picture and make sure you know the national emergency. They'll get you. They'll get you assistance, but it'll be private. They don't have the national RAC and AA. So that could be helpful to somebody, and then you sort out, obviously where you want to go and the price with them, and you don't pay a membership, so it's just a one-off fee, and it might seem like a lot of money at the time, but like how many times do you get recovered? I've never been recovered here. Well, I had my own. I had my own recovery pickup thing, but and I only ever used that. I gave it to some bloke, and we used it in between like a group, and he paid the insurance and all that, and kept it spick and span because I had nowhere to park it really, and I didn't really want to be arsed with it. So I said to him, "I'll keep it if you take over it." So that's what he did, and I think it's died a death now. I don't know where it is. Anyway, so that's what you want to be looking at for roadside assistance, and like as you go to different regions, it's worth just pulling over and taking a snap of the local truck, or whatever, and just take note of where garages are and service places and that. You usually find them on like the ring roads, and you can be anywhere uh, around the Balkan, and you'll always get help. Don't worry, don't ever worry about like not being stranded anywhere. There'll always be help somewhere. Like I came down without any assistance, loads of times, and you'd always get help. I had one where a tyre blew out near Arad in Romania, and it was fixed like in a jiffy. Surprising, all these places that they're everywhere. Anyway, but I've never had any serious stuff go wrong, and you like I say, you'll always get help. I mean, even in Austria, I had a fan belt go at the top of the Alps, and it was only May or June, but it was still snow up there, like residual, not like on the roads now. And the fan belt went, and it took out all the other belts on this. It was like a frontier. I was towing a caravan as well, So it just on all the power steering went, everything went because it's all on belts, and I had the presence of mind to go and pick up the belt because the numbers are on the belt, and I went back and I picked, and that's where you need the head torch, you need torches, and all the rest of it, and I just managed to limp off. There was this slip road right in front of me. And if not, I would have been in the tunnel another 20 seconds. Anyway, I limped off. And I was with this other guy. He was in it. Well, luckily, he was in another vehicle. He was in a Discovery. Anyway, so we gets down to the bottom of the slip road, and there it was. It was like a John Deere service place, and like a lay-by, and like, so I just pulled into the lay-by, and this guy who was with me, he had a meltdown. He melted down. He was running around, and I said, "Calm down." He said, "What are you going to do now?" I said, "Well, we've got a caravan. We'll have a cup of tea." How's that? We'll have a cup of tea, and in the morning we'll wake up, because you could hardly see anything. You could hardly see. Just picked out this John Deere place. Anyway, so I went in there in the morning. I showed him the belts. He said, "We haven't got them, but like, we know somebody who will have." And he sent us, just give us directions, only down the road. It was this like other place, and they had a belt, and that was it. So I decided, well, I'll put the belt on, which was a bit of a job on the roadside, but like, not that big a job. But you've got to get I had to get the cowling off the radiator and all that kind of stuff. So it took about 3 hours messing around, and we were on the road. That was it, including going and getting the belt. And the people in the John Deere place, they had a full set of drawers of what's his name, Snap-on tools, and they said, help yourself, because I had a certain amount of tools, but not enough. Anyway, they said, help yourself, and we did. And fantastic. Well, and for nothing, free. The mechanics, I said, we're just outside here. He said, no problem. In Austria, this was. No problem. Help yourself to all the tools that you need. Out of the Snap-on, and they were fantastic. All the great tools, aren't they? So you'd always get help. And I had a hose go on the border one time as well, and like, same thing, you just the nearest person, some bloke with a van, and he said, right, follow me. He was going into the village, and I followed him, and I just topped the water up enough to get into this village, and it was leaking, like it had gone. Anyway, but you can get somewhere if you just limp along with a hose gun. If you just do it in short, because well, you've got all the time in the world once you're broken down, haven't you? You know, things have to be done. Anyway, he took me to this place, and he got this hose off some car. No charge. They knew he was in distress. And I had no problem with paying him, and he wouldn't take any money. He said, no, it's on the house, and that was it. Brilliant. That was in Bulgaria, just this side, coming out of Serbia. There's a village there. Anyway, but so you'll always get out of it. situation. It might cost you a bit, but that's the thing to look for. Pomos. And you might get stuff on the sat-navs and that, I don't know. But that's what you're looking for. Anyway. So that's how the breakdown works here. It's Wild West time. But you'll always get help. Always. Whether it's a tractor, whether it's someone passing by or whatever, you'll always get help. In my experience. Anyway, so someone said, what do you think about these protests and riots? Well, the main protest was about in Sofia, this is Bulgaria. It was a few days back now, and now it's all like frittered away. There's not that much coverage in the mainstream media, but there never is. Anyway, there was quite a big article in Novaniti. And it's a good source of news because it kind of does give news sometimes. Sometimes it just cut and paste the mainstream narrative. Sometimes it doesn't. So the main thing was the budget, and the budget included giving public servants more money, and then increasing dividend taxes for private companies and national insurance contributions, which is just it's another tax in it. So they're playing the game that, they might have been watching the UK and seeing how to extort people, but they've rescinded it. They've called it back in, the budget. So they've got 3 weeks now to sort out a revised version, see what happens. But they were absolutely out of order because the private sector, in my opinion, has done well in Bulgaria. And they were punishing them and giving big rises to the public sector people, which is out of order, absolutely. So they've been called out by the masses. So, and there was some hooligans, and they were detached. There was about 150 of them. These provocateurs, they'd smash all the windows and they set vehicles on fire and bins. And you get them all over the world, paid provocateurs by whoever wants to escalate. They'll be the ones who send them in and pay them. And there was reports actually that the police stood down for half an hour while these people did the worst, and then they came in then as if they were like heavy-handed. And so anyone's guess. So that's what it was. But the main protesters didn't join in. They didn't. They just carried on their peaceful protesting while these hooligans were tearing the place apart. So that was that. And the other part of the protest was against corruption, which it always is in Bulgaria. They got this thing about Eastern Europe, haven't they? That it's the only corrupt place around. Just look at the EU if you want to see corruption, or the UK government. Corruption. They're just better at it, on brazen, and they're always quick to call out the Eastern Europe. But they were calling out two people in particular. One was called Pivsky, and one's called Boyko Borisov. And he's been around since I've been around here. He's been Prime Minister, I think, 3 times, maybe. 3 times. Certainly twice. Boyko Borisov. And you've got this other bloke Peevski, he's like an oligarch, and he's operating behind the guise of being a politician. If you ask me, that's how I see it. Oh, he's got a lot of clout, and he's pulling strings. That's what people aren't happy about. That's like a kind of separate issue than the budget issue. But the one thing that they weren't making a fuss about was the euro, and I think that's the biggest issue. But it looks like it's going ahead. It looks like it can still be scuppered. Got 3 weeks, but like it looks like it's the point of no return now. All the businesses are getting. They're already going to the. They ran out of the coins. They started issuing the coins, a bag of coins, all the cents, to replace the lev. This is the euro, and they ran out, and they haven't got any more stock for the moment. But I've got some anyway. But I mean, it's up to them to sort all that out. On January the 1st, they're supposed to. I think for a month, you can still pay in the shop in lev, but you get the change in euros, which is a good way of introducing it. If you want the euro, that is. But I think it'll be a disaster for Bulgaria. I really do. There's no periphery countries that have ever benefited from being in the euro. It wasn't broken because they were pegged to the euro anyway, which is, people said it's the same thing. Well, it isn't. It's not. It's not the same thing at all. If you look into it, if you know what you're talking about, it's nothing like the same thing. Like, I didn't know, but North Macedonia, they're pegged to the euro, and I've been for a while, and I only found that out a couple of months ago. I was doing a bit of research on like how all the currencies are doing around the Balkans against, well, a couple of countries use the euro, but they're not in it. I mean, that'd be a good. If you wanted to go into the euro, you just use it. No one ever stopped anyone using euros here in Bulgaria. It wasn't prohibited in any way, shape, or form. And all the banks do euros accounts. I've always had a euro account. But there are countries. There's two countries, Kosovo and Montenegro. That's where this hat's from. MNE, Montenegro. And they use the euro unofficially. They just adopted it. It's like some places use the US dollar. El Salvador, they just use it, the US dollar. And I think Ecuador might use it as well. I'm not sure about that one. It's either Ecuador or one of them places down there. Or Peru. I think it's Ecuador. And they just adopted it, just use it. And it would be better just to use the euro because you don't have to pay in then to all these pots of money. And you have to hold reserves there as well in the ECB if you join it officially. And I'm sure the Kosovo doesn't pay into anything. And funnily enough, it's the cheapest country in Europe now. If you look at Numbeo, it's the cheapest country in Europe, followed by Macedonia, which is pegged to the euro. So, it can work. And it was working in Bulgaria. There was nothing there. Nothing broken here. The country's been doing well, even through the last few years. The lock-ups and all that. was okay. Yeah. Anyway, so we're going to find out. We're on Euro Watch anyway. I'm on frugal Euro Watch, and I'm collecting. I'm collecting the brochures from Lidl for the last couple of months, coming up to the euro, and we'll compare the prices later because the prices are in euros as well in the brochures. We'll see what happens. And I've got like the idea of giving Bulgaria, see how it goes for the next 2 years. Just see how it goes. And I might say, I won't sell up or anything, because I need this property and everything for me residency and all things like that. What I'll do is spend time in other countries. Spend time, and I'm working on how to do it. And even, you can get places in like Sicily for the winter. Got to be careful there now with Mount Etna. It's better off down the other end of the island, and not like, that's not a joke. Mount Etna is in a bad way. It's going to slip into the sea, and the part that's going to slip into the sea, we stayed there in January this year, and I said to the woman who we were renting this apartment from, I said, is there a early warning, sirens or anything like that? She said, don't be daft. That's not going to happen. And now it's like cracking apart. And right where we were staying, that's going to be in the sea. 12 months later. But well, it hasn't slid in yet, but I reckon it's going to happen sooner rather than later. These things can take years and years, but and they've closed all the areas up on the volcano. So yeah, if you're going to Sicily, you're better off staying either above 30 meters, because do you reckon there'll be a tsunami? Like, I quite like the Syracuse area, and there is like hilltop towns just inland, which I was looking at anyway. I don't know how high above sea level they are, but it's worth taking notice, because it'll just happen. If there's a tsunami, it'll just happen. And if it happens during the night, game over for most people. Anyway, I reckon it'll be up to 30 meters, the waves. But like, that's if that's when it happens. But yeah, if you can go inland a little bit, if you are in Sicily, you want to be above, well, at least 20 meters, I would say, above sea level. But it looks pretty serious. There's a lot of eruptions going on all over the world at the moment, or maybe they just reported more. There's more information on YouTube and that. It doesn't look good in Naples, Campi Flegrei. It doesn't look good there at all. But that could be like a human catastrophe. But like, if you want to live on a volcano, and that's what it is, Campi Flegrei. It's a volcano. They're not living around the rim or anything like that. They're on top of it. And they know that they're on top of it. But anyway, we'll see what happens there as well. Okay, cheers.